Next, let's talk briefly about how Ansible Tower compares with some of the native Microsoft solutions available in the market today. So when we think about configuration management and Windows automation in a Microsoft context, we're really talking about multiple products, from WSUS to SCCM to PowerShell to DSC to Intune, and also anything that we would work with in an Azure service context. And so against these, we have in comparison Ansible Tower, which is a single solution that also, as we've talked about, really does bring a true single pane of glass to both our Windows and our Linux environments, as well as even network devices. And that's a real differentiator for Ansible in general, but especially when we compare it to some of the things that Microsoft offers today. Head to head between Tower and SCCM, so we're talking about Ansible Tower having been born in the cloud era versus something that goes all the way back to the mid-90s. Something that's agentless in Ansible Tower, meaning that there's nothing to install or configure or update on the managed hosts, to SCCM, which is agent-based, which means that you do have to install, configure, and update everything, everywhere, every time. And when we think about Tower, we're talking about a solution that can orchestrate across playbooks and hosts and actually enables pretty complex deployments if we need them, versus something that is executing most of its operations locally and asynchronously. And this really does limit the upper bound on the complexity that we can have in any kind of deployment, orchestration, or provisioning scenarios. When we compare Tower to a more modern approach that Microsoft has taken with PowerShell DSC, we do find that both support push and pull, but DSC does have some gotchas with regard to how it handles both of those and what it's really trying to do. A lot of that comes down to the fact that, once again, Tower's approach is agentless, while DSC's is not. Ansible happens to ship with a Win DSC module for those who do want to be able to leverage and kind of extend what they're doing with DSC in a Tower context. We see that happening from time to time. And while DSC can make API calls, it really isn't a full-blown or robust solution, especially when it comes to integrating with third-party solutions. Ansible Tower is a multi-OS, Swiss Army knife level general purpose solution, and DSC is going to be limited in the types of problems that it can solve for you. Especially when we think about administrator and developer experience, we're talking about something that's a pretty rich web UI that has a modern API as well behind that, and DSC not really having a UI or an easy way to create an actual platform out of it for anybody else's self-service needs.